Hello beautiful beings. So I wanted to just make a little video, like a little positive motivational video, about coming back to your authentic self and being who you truly are, which obviously I've made a few videos about that before, but it just feels really important at the moment, and I feel like I've had a few shifts within me that I've been working through stuff for so long, letting go of stuff, all of that drama, and particularly like just this full moon that went, like it just felt really heavy and dense, and sometimes I have these moments where kind of old things are breaking down and I have this real identity crisis where I feel like I don't know who I am anymore. I feel really empty. I don't feel like me at the moment, like my sort of personality, and I feel like it's really important to come back to like who really are you, and who you are. I'm just gonna put the camera down. Who you are is sort of like not based on your job and the people around you and everything, but it's really affected by it. So sometimes you just know that you don't really feel like yourself. Oh, I'm all blue. You don't really feel like your authentic self, but you just can't quite put your finger on it and you can't quite access it. And I've sort of been thinking the last, especially like the last couple of weeks, and feeling a shift between, I feel like kind of relationships around you and people also can either sort of uplift you or drain you. And like the difference between actually just like people that you can laugh with is really important, and having a laugh yourself, like coming back to kind of lightening up a little bit rather than taking life so seriously. And we have been taking life really seriously, and there's good reasons for that. There's a lot going on in the world at the moment that's pretty intense, and there are going to be big changes, but what's the point in making those big changes if we're not happy doing it? And we're always searching for happiness and what we think will make us happy in different pathways, but it really is like a shift in your perspective of coming home to who you truly are, which to me is never generally sort of brought about by going down a specific pathway. But I find that sometimes like beautiful people, kind of angels, like reflectors, will come along and just almost like light you up a little bit, like light your spark up and remind you of who you are. And then you have this sense of like, this is who I am again. I forgot about that. I forgot how to laugh and how to enjoy life and things. So we're called to kind of do that for each other, really. And I feel that, to me, the most spiritual things is not like your belief systems, or it's like there are so many different pathways that you can go down, but really it's your action and it's your like everyday demeanor. And I almost got into this state of almost like constantly feeling guilty that I wasn't being like compassionate enough, like no matter what I was doing, I was like still failing myself, because it's like I was almost trying to live up to this embodiment of this I don't know, like ascended being that the irony is that when I let go and I was just being my true authentic self, that's who I naturally am, is like just this really joyful, uplifting person who just kind of has a laugh with people and uplifts people. And that doesn't actually take effort. It doesn't take like guilting yourself into it. It actually is just relaxing and just enjoying your life. So we make life really complicated for ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves, and it's exhausting. So guys, just relax a little bit. And know that actually you're doing a really good job. I'm sure that a lot of people need to hear this, that especially I've got quite a few friends that, will have a chat every now and then and have a catch up. and sometimes talking about some of the struggles that we're going through. And we're always like our harshest critics, aren't we? So we sort of look at all of these things like we're thinking that like we're failing and we're not quite where we want to be and everything. Whereas sometimes like on the outside, I look at people, I'm like, well, actually you're doing like a pretty bloody amazing job, and we don't have to have it together all the time. It's okay to be messy, and actually being messy is sometimes like the most beautiful state of being, place to meet people in. That's truly, I think what brought me into nursing was that, for me it's like when you break down all of those barriers and all of that ego stuff of like trying to be perfect and trying to fit in this little box, and when you feel like, oh, you're not quite fitting into it, you're failing in some way and you're feeling vulnerable, but yet at that state, you kind of let go of your barriers and coming to the present moment. So I find that I have like really beautiful connections with people, that you just wouldn't get elsewhere really. And I like that in life as well, is sometimes like when people are really honest. I've had people that I've known for years that were in this kind of like spiritual ego of like, oh, I'm like having like these like spiritual names that they've given themselves, and they've like gone down all these pathways and they've taken themselves really serious in their spirituality. And then I've occasionally had like one spark of recognition with like certain people where they've been like really vulnerable, and just for a minute I've seen them as their true authentic selves, when they're not trying to like put on this character or show, but they're just being themselves. And straight away I was like, oh, I like that person, I wish I could like spend more time with that person, they're really cool. And yeah, sometimes we don't know how much we're kind of putting on this show because we're trying to be better for ourselves because we think that we're not good enough. But actually sometimes just chilling out is like what people want. And is so much more freeing. So I'm just going to read you quickly a poem that I wrote. Or just cough through it. It says, oh, we take life so seriously. Why do we make it so hard for ourselves when the truth is so simple? When there is a peace that can be found just from coming home to the present moment, from not becoming so entangled in the complexities of our minds, but instead coming back to our hearts and letting its gentle callings lead the way. I became so dense and heavy that I almost forgot how to smile. Tried to prove myself but came off empty-handed. Tried to fit in, to change myself until I didn't even know who I was anymore. Tried to find love and companionship but was left empty-handed. Witnessed so much suffering that my faith was shaken. Lived through heartbreak so brutal that I felt I'd been smashed to pieces and didn't know how I could even begin to trust another again. Howling on the floor like an animal, and in my apathy, my numbness, my depression, I asked, will I ever laugh again? Will I ever feel safe? Will I have the courage to move forwards? Or will I let all of life's trials gut me, smash me down and bury me? An answer came whispering back in the depths of my darkness, a vision of me as a child, where I did not need anything to be whole, where I did not need to fix the world's problems with my mind, where I was not bogged down with loneliness and fear to connect, because I was just love, shining my light brightly, a little whirlwind of joy and enthusiasm, a gentleness and compassion that inspired my life's path forwards. I saw that I could not be broken, damaged or hurt by anyone. I was a seed that had been planted, and in that remembrance I had the courage to rise, no longer needing the fiery rage of being the phoenix in the ashes that burned within me, screaming to be expressed and witnessed. Instead, I alchemized it, settled it in, and let the nature within me remind me of a timelessness, a power so gentle, fractals inherent in all, a power that grows and flourishes in its own time and unique design. When I came into stillness and had the courage to put down the baggage, to break through the shell of what I thought defined me, encased me and hid me, that's when I really awakened, as I rose towards the light. And as my name gifted to me told me my purpose, my mission, I opened my infinite nature, and in that remembrance allowed myself to blossom. So I struggled with that actually. I've got a bit of a sore throat. But yeah, just by all means do your shadow work. Don't be afraid of like facing those things that are really difficult and need to be witnessed, because sometimes there are things that come up that need to really be faced to work through the fears and then step up and to reach a new level of living, to succeed in a new area or really deepen in a new area. So if we didn't feel uncomfortable, then we wouldn't have the urge to grow. But at the same time, don't torture yourself. And actually have time just to enjoy life, because that's what we need. We need to celebrate life and enjoy living it and enjoy the beauty that's around us, see the beauty that's around us, because then that will give us the motivation and the energy to move forwards, to create new beginnings, to embody our mission and to shine our light in the world. So we need both of them. We need to fill our cup and connect with people that inspire us and use that shared motivation to bring joy to the world. And I feel like I should start singing, but I won't now. So lots of love, beautiful people, and I really hope that brings you a little bit of joy to your day and opens your heart and reminds you of how beautiful you are as a human being. So lots of love. And there are many of you at the moment that I'm feeling sort of very proud of, that I'm seeing different people rising in different ways and sharing different things. And even if you don't feel witnessed, just like sometimes I see people that I'm like, oh, I'm really happy that they're doing well in their lives. So just know that I am proud of you. So lots of love. Nice way to end, just coughing.